What the fuck? This is a genuine Albrecht, as seen right there. It's the real deal. And I just got in some soft jaws here in the vise. I'm going to tighten it. I'm going to hold the collar and I'm going to lock it. Okay. Lock's good. Everything's fine. Here, let me back it off. That's just tightening the jaws against themselves. I'm going to just slip in a little 3/8 stub here. And I'm going to hold the collar. I'm going to tighten it. Now watch when I let go. Watch the connection between here and here. It loosens itself up. It's like it springs back. Like, I don't know. Okay, well, our chuck isn't really doing too well, so I got some suggestions from a couple people said that the lube inside has gotten thick, and that's what's making it spring back. I made a couple of down and dirty chuck wedges. This is just soft flat bar. You take it on a belt sander and you can taper it, and the two tapers, when they come together, should slip that off. So I think this was gonna work. Let's see. Yeah, they should drive that taper off no problem. Okay, I got them started against each other there, and these are mild steel, so they're not gonna slip against each other too well, but I think we're gonna be just fine. Let's see, I don't want to drop my chuck. I don't want to drop my arbor either. I'm going to hold it like this. Just try to get all this lined up at once with your third hand. So if you can drive those things together and try to separate all that. There it is. Okay, so that's the arbor. And you making your own chuck wedges is no big deal. It's just build them to suit. But that gets it off your tapered arbor. And now we can get into that chuck and see what that's all about. Okay, we're going to start off with the collar. This upper collar, it's got a small flat, and it pinches down there. I'm just going to get in there with a small screwdriver and pop that loose. And I don't think it's threaded. I think that just slips off. Let's try to gently spread that. It should come right off. No. Let's take the screw all the way out. Okay. Now let's see if we can spread that turkey out a little bit. Yeah, I'm feeling it. Let me go get a proper wedge in there, open that up. Okay, that wasn't bad. I just slipped I have a very sharp chisel that's ground just for spreading things, and it's very smooth. It's got a very slow taper. I just put it in by hand, and that spread that enough. And that was not threaded. That just is a slip fit. So we've got that part off. All right. Okay, well, we've got our collar off. Not too hard. Next up, these chucks do come apart. It doesn't look like it, but the break point is right beyond the knurl right here. And what you want to do is you can make your own soft jaws or whatever you want. These are urethane, so they grab really good. I'm going to put this down on the knurly sticky side just to get it cut loose. I'm just going to take a piece of 1/8" thick rubber and wrap it around here and give it a firm snap with a pair of channel locks, and she should cut loose. I've had this one apart before. There it is. All right, so we're loose. Now you don't want to take it apart like this. You want to flip it because there's all kinds of little parts in there, similar to an automatic transmission. There's a ring of balls, and I can't remember everything that's in there. But I do know that you want this part facing up. So now we're loose, and we can spin this outer section off. And I think, according to all the comments that people talked to me about, it was they said it was just gummed up, and it does look pretty gummy. You know, we've got it's a pretty gummed up surface in there. So we're going to clean that. And then these jaws, I think they just lift out. Yep, they just pull straight out. And they're gummed up too. And these are, I do not believe these are numbered. We'll take a look at them and make sure that they're, no, these are all equal. These are all identical to each other. And they just come straight out. You can see there's a scroll back there in the back. So this thing is really gummed up. And what it does is it relies on this friction surface here in the back to do its clamping. Otherwise, that gives it kind of a cam action. So yeah, it's pretty gummy. So let's dig into it a little farther. There's another row of bearings we need to get to and see what kind of condition those are in. Okay, so now we're going to just lift straight out and see where the balls are. No, they're still down below. This is real gummy too. Looks like we've had some coolant in there. Pretty gummed up. Needs a good cleaning. Wow, I didn't know it was that bad. Holy moly. All right, so that needs a good cleaning and soaking. And it feels like I had lubriplate. I think I assembled this with lubriplate, and they said just put light machine oil on it. That's it. All right, so that's going to get cleaned up. And then this fella here, just below this, I think that's our thrust surface down below. Yeah, there it is. See your balls down there? Those are all loose, and you need to be really careful with those. And that's where I've got lubriplate down there too. I'm just going to put that back in for now and just let that sit. And then here's your actual screw in the center here. That little fella there. Alrighty. And I'm wondering, looking at this thing, see the gap in those balls? I wonder if I'm missing one. That's interesting. I don't know if that needs a space in there, or it's supposed to be filled up with them all the way around. But pretty interesting. All right, I'm just going to leave this together until I'm ready to clean. I'm going to go rob some Tupperware from the wife's kitchen and get this all cleaned up. Okay, well maybe over here in the better light you can see down in there, but you can see that gunk that's gotten in there. And we've learned our lesson. I got a little tub of purple power in some warm water here, and we're just going to start soaking all our parts. And we're going to go and drop the jaws in. They're pretty gummy. Those are going in the soup. Might as well do the ring too. This is really bad. It's actually got some rust. It's like it had water in it. Maybe got some coolant up in there. Okay. I didn't think the lubriplate would get that sticky over time, but it obviously does. So that needs a good cleaning. And then this, I think we're just going to open that up and let all those little balls drop. And we'll pick them out later and use a pair of tweezers and drop all that in. I think we're going to continue to use lubriplate there in the back. But out in front, we're going to use just light machine oil. Make sure I don't lose any of those balls. Make sure they all make it in the soup. And we'll have to sit there with a pair of tweezers and dabs of grease to hold it together to get it put back in. All right. And then there's our main body there, the upper part of the body. Again, kind of gummy. And then we got the threaded shank here. That doesn't actually look too bad, but that's going in the soup too. All right, let me get those done soaking and cleaned up, and we'll lay them all out on a towel and do an assembly. Okay, well, tomorrow has turned into today, and we've got our part soaking, and our fluid is very discolored. Usually that's a very nice purple, so that tells me it's been working overnight. And our parts are looking good. A lot of the gum is just dissolved away. We're going to scrub it all down and get it cleaned up, and then we'll start putting it back together. So let's get cleaning. Wait a minute, you're not going to watch me clean all this. Let me get it clean. I'll bring you back. There's no way I'm filming me scrubbing grease off of stuff. That's stupid. All right, let's let me get them clean. I'll bring you back. Okay, I think we're ready here. We're done cleaning. What I'm going to assemble with this time, last time I assembled it all with lubriplate, and you can see the big sticky mess. I use this chuck solely on the mill, and I was doing a job where I was doing a bunch of stainless, and I was using a lot of mist coolant, and I think the mist was just getting right back up in the chuck, and it just turned it into a bunch of coagulated goo. That's the only thing I can think of. But we're not going to assemble with that this time. The inside of the main body, or housing, or whatever you want to call it, it relies on friction around that outer perimeter. And you can see I've cleaned that with Scotch-Brite. I got in there and put the grain back into it. It gets polished, and it relies on that to create some friction. And then the back side of these jaws, right here, you see they're curved, and they rely on that friction too, and they ride. I'm going to just set one in there and try to tilt it towards the camera so you can see where it rides. But you want that to be not polished, just slightly rough. And I just, on the jaws, I just took them over on the, I keep a little plate over on the, by the sink, a granite plate, and I laid down some 320, and I just curved and polished those and put that grain back in. Only about 3 strokes per, just to get rid of the shine. There's a shiny spot right down the middle, and I just broke that. And then I checked the actual contact surface right here, where your drill bits and your tools actually go in, and just again just a couple of strokes on there just to make sure it didn't have any high spots. Okay, now what we're going to do, I have 2 things I'm going to assemble with. I am going to use a small amount of lubriplate just for some ball bearing retention, just to create something sticky in there. This is the upper body right here, and you'll see down inside the ring where the balls run, and you want to run your finger around in there, make sure there's nothing funny going on there, make sure that groove isn't too deep, you know. I can't even catch my fingernail on that, so it's that little bearing race is good. And then the other side of it is right here. That's where the balls run there, and this fits into this body as so. Wow, they sure make their fits nice, and with a ring of balls in between. Now this is challenging, but I'm going to show you how an easy way to do it. We're just going to use a little bit of lubriplate and just kind of coat where those balls are going to run, and just to give them some adhesion to that surface. Now you could sit there with I don't know, a pair of tweezers or something, or a little magnet. Well, magnet wouldn't be good. Trying to get those balls in. I'm going to take this body, I'm actually going to put it in backwards, as so. And now when we drop our balls in, they can't fall down in the hole. I am going to use tweezers. And we're just going to drop it right down the middle of the hole anyways. Look at that. What a knucklehead. I'll move the camera a little closer to you. Or I'll move the part a little closer to you so you can maybe see what I'm doing. Move you like this. Now you can probably see better than I can. Anyways, we're going to go around that perimeter and drop some balls in. Yeah, it shouldn't be too bad. Oh, somebody's talking to me. And if you get one on top of the other one, you can just get down there with a stick and poke them around, no big deal. But what I'm hoping is that little bit of lubriplate I put down in there is going to hold those balls. So I can take this center portion and take it out and flip it back over. Oh, did you see that? All right, let me spin this around a little bit. There, put another one down the hole. Yeah, this is good times. Yeah, I don't want to slather this with grease. I'm just putting enough grease in there just to hold those balls in place where I can flip that other part over. All right, let's make sure they're all laying down in there. Down, down. I think we're down all the way around. All right, let's see if this stunt's gonna work. Gently now. Now I got one ball that's kind of sitting proud. Let me get that down in the grease right there. All right, we're down. All right, they're in place. I'm gonna use the rest of it. I'm assembling with 10-weight spindle oil. It's mobile velocite. So we're just gonna give it a little shot of spindle oil here. And this is the same oil I use on the Bridgeport. Now for my next trick, I'm going to drop this in and not let any of those bearings go down the hole. And I think we got it. All right. We're golden. Look at us go. All right. And after this is in at all, there's no chance of those bearings getting out. They just can't. All right. That was the hard part. Let me tip you guys back up. And we'll move back here a little bit again. And now we're going to go for the screw. This is a reverse thread. Your screw shouldn't have any burrs or nicks on it. It should thread in and out very freely. And then we've got this funny looking feller here. This is the one that was really caked up with a lot of gooey stuff, and they even had some rust. I had to get in that relief groove and scrub out a little bit of corrosion, you know, but I think we're good. I'm gonna just give that a shot of oil in there. That can creep down into those bearings, which I have no problem with. If we wash that lubriplate away with oil, I'm completely good with that. And this has got a roll pin in here that indexes or kind of registers into that. And what you do need to do is these 3 grooves have to line up with these when you're going to put your jaws in. That has to go, those have to line up because your jaws go straight in and they have to line up with each one. Oh wow, look at that. It's like a suction cup type effect there. And now we're going to line up that bottom. You see I can turn that screw independently. But after those jaws go in, they're keyed together. So just with what little oil is on my hands, I'm just kind of lubricating that. And these don't have a timing or an order or anything. They just slip in as so. Little oil there. Yeah, these don't have a number 1, 2, 3 or anything like that. There's really no scroll on this thing like you would see a regular type of chuck. And this jaw goes in. And we'll give that a nice dose of oil on the top of each one lightly. And all this will get washed away. We're going to coat the inside of our bell housing, or whatever you want to call that thing. Make sure there's a drop of oil on the threads. I tell you, the craftsmanship on these Albrechts is just amazing. The fits and everything's like a suction cup in there. All right, when you lift back up, you need to make sure you landed in your roll pin groove there, and make sure all 3 jaws are in tight. And this is a standard thread. And you just turn it backwards till you can feel it drop in, and then spin it on. All right. Now all that's left is the collar, and put the arbor back on. We do need to take it over to the vise. We're going to clamp again, wrap our rubber around it, and give it a quick cinch with a pair of channel locks. And we're back to working again, and wow, that thing feels really smooth now. Let's put it all back together and see if it actually grips on something. That's the whole reason we're doing this. So in an interest of getting this video short as possible, we will now I'll go ahead and assemble it. All that's left is that collar there, simple enough, and tighten that little screw in there, and then put it back, press it back on an arbor, and then we'll check it one last time. All right, I'll bring you back. Okay, well, we're back where we started, and we'll go ahead and run this thing down. It sure is smooth now. It sure feels nice with that oil in there. We're going to lock it. I'm going to hold the collar. We're going to lock it. Jaws against themselves. Feels good. And now we're going to open it up. And this is the exact same piece I used before. It's a little 3/8 stub, high-speed steel. And we're going to lock down here. Watch our connection. I mean, that's the whole thing turning in the soft jaws. But that sucker locks. I can feel it lock in. It feels so good. All right. We can chuck up on something maybe a little bigger. What else have I got here? That was 3/8. Here, let's there's a little 1/2-inch piece there. See how that feels? Yeah, you can feel it lock in there. All right. That's all there was to it. It was just a bunch of goo inside the Albrecht, but you can't tell, but your break point is right there on those things, and you just need to be careful what you use to open them up. This has been opened up before, so it's really easy, so I was able to just wrap it with a piece of rubber and channel locks. So if you feel so inclined, make yourself a strap wrench, make yourself an aluminum or plastic clamp that clamps into the vise that really bites down on this thing, so you can get in there and pop that thing loose. After it's loose, it's not a problem. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed this Albrecht teardown, and I think I'm going to use oil in these from now on. Thanks for watching.